of us fulfilled the waitlist form, I want to say a huge thank you for your patience, and I really do appreciate the love and support so far. So the Plethora Zip Around Wallet PDF pattern is finally ready, and in this video we are going to make it from scratch to finish. But before we dive in, I must let you all know that I already made a video before this one on how to print, cut, fold and adjust the PDF pattern, because there's some tweakings we need to make, guys. Bear with me. This is my very first PDF pattern. I gave up on it. I almost gave up on it, but because of those of us who have filled the waitlist form, I decided to still get it done. Okay, so the Plethora Zip Around Wallet, like the name implies, it is a zip around wallet with one major exterior zipper, one inner zipper pocket, okay, one transparent ID card slot, 9 other card slots for your ATM or complimentary cards, and enough room, enough space, enough pockets for cash, boarding pass, tickets, a regular size smartphone, pen, and much more. Is this an absolute beginner level project? No, you have to be a determined beginner in order to pull this one off, okay? So I made about 4 prototypes in order to get me to my imaginations. Let me show you guys one after the other. This is the very first wallet I made, guys. This was where I was starting to get the idea, and it's obvious that I will not get it right in the first try. So this is what the interior looks like. The first mistake I made was that I noticed that the bottom part does not have anything that will protect our stuff or our items from falling off. So the bottom part was just open, okay? I already fixed it. I already started making this. I realized how will the thing stay. So I decided to make the second one, which to me was almost a saving grace. It was getting better at this point, except for the fact that I forgot to attach the transparent ID card slot, guys. What was I thinking? But aside from that, this right here, guys, is a saving grace. Okay, this one gave me the confidence. As you can see, guys, at this point, the bottom of our pocket is no longer open. Now, when we put things inside, they are safe and secure. So yeah, guys, it was getting better. Then I decided to make prototype 3, and it got worse. It got worse, guys. Check out the zippers bulging. Can you guys see the mistakes? I was super duper mad at myself when I made this, because prototype 2 gave me confidence. So I was really confident that I would get prototype 3 right, and guys, I did not get it right. Even the interior has mistakes. That day was in my day. Then I made prototype 4, which so far is the closest to my imagination, and this brought out my confidence and made me feel like, okay, I am good to go, I got this. And this right here, guys, is the particular wallet we are going to be making today. Everything about this wallet is as it should be, almost, and it fits what is in my head. Okay, so guys, here is the interior. I don't know if you guys can see, but here, guys, is closest to what has been in my head. I'm going to leave pictures and videos on the screen so that you guys can see what I am talking about. So the download comes with a PDF pattern, an instructional ebook with pictures, clear and high quality pictures, and of course, guys, a DIY tutorial. Okay, so to appreciate your patience, your love, and your support, we are going to be giving you this pattern for 25% off up until the end of April. So this is my Easter gift from me to you. I hope you like it. Finally, guys, if you don't want to go through the stress of making the wallet yourself, you can order an already made version for you or that special someone via Juliet on Instagram. Okay, so all you have to do is slide into the DM, make your order either as a regular person or as an wholesaler. Okay, we are currently looking for wholesalers, so feel free to join the wholesalers community. I'm going to leave the link in the description box, but if you don't want to follow the link, it is Juliet on Instagram. Slide into the DM and place your order. Okay, so with all of that being said, let us get this party started. For my main fabric, I am using an ashoke. It is woven in Nigeria. It's a traditional fabric. For the lining fabric, I am using a plain cotton fabric. It is a plain Daviva fabric. For the lining interface, I am using a stay. It is soft, but you can use your Decobond 809. Please use Decobond 809 if that is what you have in your part of the world. Then for the main panel interface, I am using a stay. This is how thick it is, but you can use your Decoville Heavy or your Peltex or Carryboard if that is what you want to use. For my zipper, I am using the main zipper is 60 cm long, and it is a size 5 zipper. So minimum, guys, it should be 60 centimeters long. And I must say that this zipper is terrible for wallets. This is mostly for clothes, and I have made about 3 different wallets with this now, and this is terrible. Okay, so don't use this, don't be like me. For the interior zipper, I am using a size 3 zipper. Okay, so this is just a regular zipper and it is size 3.
For my thread, I am using a polyester or nylon thread, and this is size 3. The details are there and the yellow paper. And for the lining thread, I am using a regular all-purpose thread.
The vinyl, we don't need this much. We just need just a little piece of vinyl. Okay, so you don't need this much, just a little piece, right? But if you do not have a vinyl, the very first time I made the wallet, I used my makeup bag. As you can see, I have makeup stains all around inside of the bag, but what I did was that I cut out the piece that I wanted and I washed it, and when I washed it, all the stains was off, and all the stains were off, and it was really neat and it worked really well. So if you can get a transparent vinyl, if you have a makeup bag, get yourself one and cut it and use it.
Here are the other things we need. Take a screenshot. I already traced out the pattern pieces on my interface and I am going to cut them out now. From my main panel, I am just going to use my contact cement to attach my main fabric. But if you're using the Decovil Heavy, you know that you're just going to iron your fabric to the interfacing or the interfacing to the fabric. So I am just using my contact cement because this is what I have in my part of the world, and now I am just going to place it the way I want. If you have a fabric that has like a particular print like mine, how you want your print to go when the wallet is finished, figure it out, then place it that way. Okay, so I am just placing mine the way I want to. After doing that, I am going to cut the excess. I am going to glue it down, then I am going to cut the excess, leaving enough seam for me to be able to fold it over. Okay, so after I have cut it out, I am going to fold the excess seam over to the wrong side. I hope you understand so far. Now that I am done folding, I am going to trim the excess at the round corners, and this is what we have right now, guys.
So guys, at this point, still on our main panel, so guys, the mark we have here, the demarcation that we have here, I already transferred it to the outside or to the exterior of our wallet. Okay, so from this point, I'm at 1 centimeter above and 1 centimeter to the bottom. Okay, so from this 2 cm that we have in the middle, I'm at 1 cm above, 1 cm to the bottom, and now that makes it 4 cm, and I did the same to the second side. So what we are going to do now is that we are going to stitch from this point, from this new mark right here to the other new mark, so that way our stitch will be 4 centimeters. And while you are stitching, make sure that your threads are long so that you can tie them on the wrong side. Okay, so you don't have back stitches.
So this is what I am talking about, guys. You tie your threads at the back instead of having back stitches at the beginning and at the end. So what you just do is to turn your project to the wrong side, pull your bobbin thread gently. Then when you pull your bobbin thread, you can see the main thread. Use a pin to pull the main thread back, then you tie at the back and cut the excess, so your seam or your sewing is neat. That's for the main panel, guys. Let's start working on our lining pieces.
Guys, now I am going to start working on my first card slot, which is pattern G. So let's go. Alright guys, so this is the first line that we have, and this right here is the largest. So I am just going to fold this wrong sides together like so on that line. So you want to make sure that everything is straight and aligned, and it's not like you get folding to one side. You just want to make sure that everything is straight and aligned. And once I am sure everything is straight and aligned, I am just going to take my iron and press it down. Once I have that down, I am going to take the second line. So this is the second line right here, and I am going to fold it right sides together like so. Move over to the front. I'm going to press it. So for the next line, I am going to press it wrong sides together. Just going to make sure it is aligned. Now that that is done, I'm going to move over to my next line, and I'm going to fold it right sides touching each other. I hope you guys understand the way I'm doing it. So it is just, you're flipping it to the wrong side and you're flipping it to the right side. You know the way we do those fans back in the days, the paper fans, right? So that is just how we are doing it. So now that I have flipped this one to this side, I am going to flip the other one to the other side. So you just want to make sure that everything is aligned and everything is where it is supposed to be. I hope you guys can see what I am doing because I have not been checking my camera. So our card slots are for me. They are for me. So now guys, where are we flipping the next one? Where are we flipping the next one? So we are flipping it like so. If you guessed right, then you would have no problem making this one. But if you guessed wrong, don't feel discouraged yet. And for our final fold, I'm going to flip it this way. Just want to make sure that everything is accurate. This right here is our final fold. So guys, one thing I do after ironing is that I put a heavy object on top of it so that it can relax and I can go and do other things, prepare other card slots, the other card slots rather. So after ironing, I am just going to take a heavy stool and put on it, because once we remove the iron, once it starts to settle, this thing pops up, okay, and we don't want that. We want it to stay down flat. So guys, this is what I use. I don't know if you guys can see that. You guys can see now, but it is a small stool that we use in the house, and I am just going to place it on top of my card slots. So while this is relaxing, I am going to get my second card slot. So guys, this is the second card slot. Can we see? Now guys, let us start working. Okay guys, so let us get started with the second card slot wallet. So the top part is the shorter part, while the bottom part is the longer one. I hope you guys understand. I'm going to start folding them. So I'm just going to first start folding from the first line downwards. You want to make sure that everything is aligned. I hope I am doing this right. I think I forgot how to do it. Then how do we fold the second one? Can you guess? Alright, yeah. Fold it like so, inwards. So I just want to make sure that everything is where it is supposed to be. Then we fold on this line.
just want to make sure that everything is aligned and everything is where it is supposed to. Then the next one we are folding this way. You can also use your ruler, guys. I forgot to show you. You can also use your ruler. I think this way it is easier, right? Then you decide to use your ruler, it is easier. Just going to put everything all together like so. So I'll tie everything together. So guys, this is the first card slot that we made. See how flat and crisp it looks. If I didn't put the heavy object on top of it, it's just going to be puffy and it won't give me the look that I am going for. Okay, so this is what we have now. I'm going to do the same to the other side. I am just going to put the heavy object on top of it in order for it to lay flat. Ow, ow, ow. This is hot. So I'm just going to place this down for a minute. Not a minute, guys, just for a few seconds. Then I'm going to place my heavy object on top of it so that it too can lay flat. 3, 2, 1, go. Boom. So now, guys, the next step for me is to find the midpoint for the wallet, which is what I did. So for you to find the midpoint easier, you just measure the length and you divide your tape rule into 2, then you mark your midpoint. I hope you guys understand. So I am going to go to the sewing machine and stitch, but the way I am going to stitch it, I am going to take the back piece because this is the front. So I am going to take the back piece. Jesus Christ, English is hard. So I'm going to take the back piece like so. I'm going to flip it up and I am going to sew not all the way to the end, guys, but we are going to stop somewhere around here. I don't know if you guys can see what I am telling you. So I'm going to sew not all the way down, somewhere here like half an inch downwards, then not all the way up, like somewhere quarter of an inch upwards. Okay, so if you want to mark this, make sure you are using a disappearing pen or a chalk, okay, something that can disappear later when you are done. So guys, I am done sewing. This is it. So I didn't sew all the way and not all the way at the bottom, not all the way at the top. So this is what we have right now. So guys, I need you guys to know that you can decide to top stitch your card slot edges if you want, but it is optional. So if you want to top stitch, I'm going to use this other card slot as an example. So if you want to top stitch, all you have to do is just take it to your sewing machine one after the other, top stitch this part, top stitch and top stitch. Okay, so you don't have to leave it this way without top stitching if that is what you want. Okay, so for this wallet I am not going to top stitch the card slot edges, but you can do so if that is what you want. So now I have removed my plate and I am just going to flip this part like so upside down. So we are going to sew the edges or the bottom parts right sides touching each other. Okay, so now I am just going to take it to the sewing machine and I am going to use the seam allowance as a guide to stitch both of them together. Okay guys, so I am done sewing and I ironed the seam allowances to the wrong side. Now I am going to flip my card slots to the right side. So let's get that done. Okay, so this part can get tricky, a little bit tricky. So guys, this is what we have right now. As you can see, our card slot is cused and rumpled, so I'm just going to
bring my iron again, and I am going to flatten everything off. So if your iron has thin, you want to make sure that you're using it. Mine does not have, so I am just managing and using what I have. Okay, so guys, after you're done sewing your wallet together, it should measure 3.5, so 3.5 inches by 7.3 inches. Okay, but if your own does not measure that amount, do not panic, just look for a way to make it work, figure it out. Okay, so guys, I am done with the first card slot, and I am going to keep it aside so that I can work on the second card slot. Guys, so let us work on our ID card pockets. So I'm just going to fold it into half like so. So guys, now that I am done gluing everything, this is what it looks like in the front, this is the back, and I am just going to take my paper tape like so. Did I say paper tape? I mean double-sided tape. And this elsewhere. I'm just going to use that to hold the vinyl in place. Guys, I just decided to put on my flash across and I can just take the light. That's this fine.
I am done sewing now, and this is what we have. So I am going to take that second card slot that we prepared, and I am going to just eyeball the space that I want in between. I am going to place it on a card slot like so to make sure it is accurate. Then I am going to do a basting stitch to hold the clear ID card slots and the other card slots together. I'm done with my basting stitch, guys. This is what we have. So I cut out another plain fabric. It is bigger than the entire card slot and the ID card slot, or the card slots combined. So I am just going to shift it to the right hand side in a way that the excess fabric is on the left. I am going to flip it to the wrong side, and I am going to sew according to the seam allowance we have from the front, from the top part down to the side. Okay, right sides touching each other. Okay, then I am going to trim the allowances, and I am going to notch the corners and flip it to the right side and iron. Guys, I need you to brace yourselves because we are doing lots of ironing for this project. Okay, so in my part of the world we usually do not have light, so I had to like wait a couple of days in order to complete this project because of the ironing. Okay, so now that I have flipped to the right side, I'm just going to use a pointy object to point my corners. Then at this point you can decide to top stitch where we've just sewn, but because I know that I am going to struggle with it because of my sewing machine, and I don't want to struggle with the needle breaking and all of that, so I decided not to top stitch. Okay, So guys, after I've ironed and all of that, I am going to trim the seam allowance, or the excess fabric that we have rather, at the side and at the bottom. And when you are ironing, guys, please do not iron directly on your clear vinyl. Even at the back, you see the reaction it causes. Okay, I personally do not like that. And please do not iron directly on your clear vinyl. Okay. For pattern F, I am going to iron down the seam allowance wrong size touching on the side that has the interfacing and the side that does not have the interfacing. Okay, so after I am done with that, I am going to take the side that has the interfacing. I am going to place it right size facing me, that is right size facing up. Then I am going to place the card slots we just prepared, wrong side touching the right side of the pattern F on the rounded edges. Then where the interfacing stop on both patterns, you can feel them. Okay, so you want to place them where the pattern stops together. You want to align them together. And I am going to take the fabric that does not have the interfacing, and I am going to place it right side touching the card slot. Okay, so folded edge to folded edge. I am going to sew according to the seam allowance, and I am going to leave an opening at the folded edge. Okay, and I am going to trim my seam allowance, notch the corners, and flip to the right side. Okay. When we flip to the right side, there is no need using a pointing tool for the corners since they are rounded. We are just going to use our fingers to make sure the corners come out rounded. Then I am going to iron the openings flat and every other thing I need to iron, guys. We are doing loads of ironing. Then I am going to close the opening shut after ironing. Okay. I am done closing the opening. Both card slots are ready. Let us work on the next. For pattern J, I am going to place the fabrics right sides touching each other, and I am going to sew everywhere except for the parts where we have the bigger seam allowance. Okay, I am going to trim all my excess seam, notch my corners. I am going to flip it to the right side, use a pointy tool to notch my corners, and I am going to iron it flat. If you have fabrics that look exactly the same on both sides, please be careful. I messed it up here, okay, but it doesn't matter. So now, guys, I am going to start rolling those lines that we have on the pattern. So I actually forgot about the pattern here, but you can just easily take your pattern and transfer the lines to your main panel. Okay, so I was just marking from the folded edge. I was just marking 2 centimeters inwards until you get 4 lines. Okay, so when you're doing this, you want to make sure you're using a disappearing pen or a chalk, something that would wipe off. Okay, here we are, guys. We have 1 2 3 4 lines. Then where our interfacing stops, we are going to fold in twice. Okay, so we added 2 centimeters. We are going to fold to 1 centimeter. Okay, Now we are going to start folding. So from the folded edge which we've sewn, I am going to fold backwards. I am going to leave the next line. I am going to move over to the other line, and I am going to fold the same way I folded the first one. I don't know if you guys understand, but I am going to show you guys again. I know you guys are not really seeing what I am doing, but basically we are just folding it in the accordion style, right? The way we fold the hand fans back in the days. Okay, so let us do it again. Folding towards the back, and we are just folding two sides. Okay, so remember we have 4 lines. Okay, out of that 4 lines we are folding 2 lines facing the same way. I don't know if you guys understand, but it is basically an accordion style, like the way we do the paper and fans back in the days. That is how I am folding it. Okay, so one side of the pattern has 3 creases and one side has 2. Now the side that has 2, I am going to take it to the sewing machine, and I am going to sew with half of a cm seam allowance, and I am going to do the same to both sides. After I am done sewing, guys, this is what I've got right now. Don't worry, when you have the pattern with you and you're making yours, you are going to know what to do. Okay, pattern A is our divider. I'm going to place it right sides facing each other. I am going to sew, but I am going to leave an opening. I thought I was doing that, but the camera wasn't filming, so I am just trimming my seam allowances. I am going to notch my corners, and I am going to flip to the right side. Like I said, guys, we've got loads of ironings to do. I am going to iron everything flat, and I am going to sew my opening shorts. For pattern C1 and C2, this is C1, and I am going to place them right sides facing each other like so, and I am going to use the same allowance as a guide, and I am going to sew. But before we do this, guys, I forgot, but before you do it, make sure to transfer the markings to the front. Okay, so I have notched my corners, and I am going to turn it right sides and iron as usual. For the rest of C1, I am going to use the fabric glue to glue everything together to the wrong side. And for C2, I am going to glue everywhere except for the straight edge where we have the larger seam allowance. So guys, I am done, and now I am going to bring my main panel, the main body, and I am going to place C1 on top of C2, and I am going to align it to the main panel to make sure that it matches. Okay, so I am going to sew on the line that is closer to the top edge of C1. I hope you guys understand everything I just said. So from the top of C1, I am going to go down by half an inch on the rounded edge. Okay, I am going to roll that out, and that's going to serve as a guide for where I am going to place the first card slot that we created. I am going to place the top of the card slot on that line, and I am going to sew it down by half of a centimeter seam allowance. And for the second card slot that we made, I am going to place it on C2. I am going to align the edges, and I am going to sew from the side down to the bottom, then to the other side. And our lining is almost ready. This part is not necessary, but I am using a cotton and it frays a lot. Now that there is no interfacing, it's not going to fray as much, but just to be safe. So on the second fold, not on the first fold guys, on the second fold of my card slot, I am going to place my side piece like so on that crease that we made where we don't have the interfacing. The way we folded the sides that have 2 centimeters seam allowance, I am going to place it, and I am going to sew by half of a centimeter seam allowance on both sides. Note that those creases that we fold is facing or are facing inside of the card slot. Now if you try in your card at this point and it is too tight, it's kind of going, just know that you're sewing in too much. Okay, now from my zipper, I am going to go ahead and notch the middle. Then after notching the middle, I am going to draw a straight line down or the long edge. On my lining panel, I also went in to locate the middle point on both sides.
So guys, on my main zipper panel, I already marked a line straight down on the longer side of my zipper panel of half a centimeter. So yeah, this is what we're going to put the pin on Friday.
So that line is going to serve as a guide, and I am going to apply my contact cement. You can decide to use your fabric glue at this point or your double-sided tape if it is strong enough, but I'm going to apply the contact cement on my lining panels on the edges and also on the zipper on the longer side of the zipper, and that line is going to serve as my guide. I want you guys to notice that the size of the brush I am using here is different from the size that I am going to use to apply the gum to the zipper, because at the end of the day we want our work to be neat and we don't want gum stains all over the zipper, okay, showing on the main side of the fabric or of the wallet. Okay, now that I am done applying my glue, I am just trying to figure out how I want my zipper to go. If it is going to open from left to right, what part of the zipper or what part of the lining I want to be on the right and what part I want to be on the left. If you have a fabric, the main body of the fabric is or has different designs, you want to put that into consideration. Okay, I don't know if you guys understand what I'm trying to explain. So I started by fixing the middle of the zipper to the middle of the lining that we marked, and I am just going to fix it like so, not all the way to the middle, guys. Remember that our midpoint is 2 centimeters, so I am just going to fix it till we get to like the end of each interfacing also. So I am just going to use my hand. I had to do this a couple of times until I was satisfied with the results that I was getting. Okay, so you want to make sure that the edge of the lining is on that line that we drew on the zipper. Okay, so I am just going to do this. I did this a couple of times before I was satisfied with what I got. So take your time, you don't have to rush, get it right, figure it right, get it done. Okay, so after we are done figuring that out, I am going to bring my ends together like so, and I'm going to use my needle and thread to sew it in place. So when you are sewing, you want to make sure you are not pulling too much, it is not too tight and it is not too loose. Okay, so you use your needle and thread to hold it in place. You can decide to use the contact cement to sew it down, to glue it down in place too. Okay, you don't have to sew it if you don't want to. Okay, now I am going to take a piece of thread that I already prepared, and I am going to tie it on the head of my zipper. I am going to use that to pull my zipper out after I've attached it to the main fabric. Now I am going to place the main panel and the lining panel together, wrong sides touching, and I am going to make sure that that rope is outside, okay, not inside. I am going to align and arrange the main panel to the lining panel, and I am going to sew. Now for us in this part of the world, we can decide to skip this method if we want. Okay, we can decide to just use our contact cement and finish it all. So what we will do in that scenario is that in the beginning, when we are prepping the main panel, we are going to sew it all around. So we have stitches, we have our top stitch done already, and then we can use our contact cement to glue it in when we get to this method. But for those of us who don't want that step, we are just going to do it the way I am showing you guys now. Okay, so when I am done aligning and clipping together, I am going to start sewing from the end of the first seam, you know, those 4 centimeters that we sew. I am going to start from there and I'm going to end at that point on the second line, so we are not sewing all the way to the middle. Okay, at this point, before sewing, I was just previewing what I wanted to achieve, where the opening and the closing of the zipper would be, how it will look when I open it. That was what I was trying to check. So guys, now that I am at my sewing machine, I am just going to put my needle in and I'm just going to try to pick to see if it passes through the lining, because we want to be able to catch the lining when we are sewing. And my machine is not a heavy duty machine, so I am just going to use the hand wheel to control step by step. I am not pressing on the pedal and driving away. No, I am not doing that. If not, I am going to be breaking needles, and I don't want that. When you're sewing at this point, guys, also remember to leave a long or generous amount of thread at the beginning, at the end. Remember, we are not back stitching, okay? We are sewing at that point where we ended the last time. We are starting from there, so we don't have any back stitch. Guys, this is it right here, and so far so good. We are on track, but I ran out of bobbin thread, so let's get my bobbin rewind. So guys, I just want to let you all know that for this one I used suede as my lining, okay, and I didn't bother to, you know, do it the way I did this one. So if you're using a lining that does not fray, you can actually get away with it without using this method, okay. All you have to do is just sew in this part, turn it to the right side, and place the skirt slot on top, okay. So just to let you know, in case you're having trouble, because I'm having trouble at this point. When you get to the other side, you want to make sure that the side of your wallet is on this side, okay. So you don't want it like this, you want it this way, okay, so you can sew and not catch it. We're not supposed to catch it. Okay guys, so this is what I was talking about. So that is why I asked us to make sure to pull our sides, or for this side I cut it where I was not supposed to. So is it okay? Can I get away with this? Yeah, I cut it where I was not supposed to, and my seam is not really nice, so I'm just going to take my seam ripper and rip out the seams. This is what we have at the moment. It's time for me to bring my threads to the wrong side and tie them just like we did at the beginning. That is that for that. I am going to put that aside, and we're going to work on our zipper pockets. For my zipper tabs, I cut out 2 pieces of fabric of 2 by 3 inches, so 2 inches wide and 3 inches long, okay. So now I'm going to bring my ironing board, and lengthwise I am going to fold 4 times. Now I am going to cut my regular zipper to 15 centimeters, and after cutting it I am going to do a basting stitch at the top and the bottom so that my zipper head does not fly away, okay. Then I am going to attach the zipper tabs and trim the excess tabs. Now that I am done with all that, I am going to mark the middle of my zipper. I also did the same to my pattern pieces. I also marked the middle, okay. So now I am going to place my fabric that has the interfacing right sides up. I am going to place my zipper right sides touching the right side of that pattern, and at this point you can do a basting stitch, but I just like to do everything at the same time. So I place, I know I did that, but let me explain. The side that has the interfacing right side facing up, the zipper right side touching it, then the other one that does not have the interfacing right sides touching, so flip to the right side and top stitch, okay. So this is what we have. Now I am going to open up the zipper, and I am going to flip my patterns, the side that has the interfacing to the side that has the interfacing, the side that does not have the interfacing to the side that does not have the interfacing, and I am going to sew according to our seam allowance at the bottom, and I am going to flip it to the right side through the zipper opening. I hope you guys understand. After doing all that, I am going to trim my zipper pocket to 19 centimeters or 748 inches. So now I am going to bring the main panel and I am going to place my zipper in between the creases that we have, and I am going to sew it down with half of a centimeter seam allowance.
So guys, I am here at the sewing machine, and if you want to sew this, since it's like this, all you have to do is just pull as far as you can, and when you're done with this one, you fix the second, you pull and you sew. Okay, I hope you guys understand, and I'll be able to show you guys.
When I am done with that, I am going to take my divider and I am going to attach it to the second crease, second dent. I really don't know what to call that part, but you guys get the gist, right?
Right guys, so now that I am done sewing the divider, what am I going to do? I am just going to pick this like so, and I am going to sew with half of a centimeter. I am going to do the same to the other side, and I am just going to sew like so. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end, I think. Guys, in order to sew this part, all you have to do is bend your wallet like so and so. Okay,
after we are done with that, I am going to use the long thread to pull my zipper head out. Having a wristlet is totally optional. I don't have the eyelet making tool for this size of eyelet, so I had to do everything by hand. I also have a separate video on how to make the wristlet from scratch to finish. I am going to leave that link in the description box, but this step is totally optional. Okay, also guys, when you want to make the eyelet, don't push it too much inside. If not, you may not be able to get your wristlet strap to fit in easily. Okay, mine, I think it is still too far, so you just want to put it in about half of a centimeter in so that you can easily fix in your strap. And that, guys, is the end. That is our wallet. Remember, it is going for 25% off up until the end of April. Okay, I would really love to see what you make, so when you post it on social media, use the hashtag DIY with Juliet so I can see it and repost it. And remember, everything and every detail is linked in the description box. Okay, I would really love to see what you